I'm Jennifer and welcome to the Daily Connoisseur. Today we're going to be continuing the self-discipline series by talking about snacking. It was one of the most highly requested topics for this series. People want to know about snacking. And of course, the first chapter in Lessons from Madame Chic is called Snacking is So Not Chic. And that was one of the major sort of life-changing things that I had to adapt to when I lived with Femi Chic, because they did not snack at all. I still think it was too extreme because they didn't snack. They had their 3 meals and they might have had something at 4 o'clock, but I never saw it. A cup of tea or something like that. But they were very strict about not snacking and they didn't seem to be missing out on anything. Now, I know that so many of us are a slave to snacking, and I have been like this at so many points in my life. I find that the more stressed I am, the more likely I am to snack. And so if I haven't prepared my meals properly, if I don't know what's going to be for dinner, I'm more likely to snack in the afternoon. So here are my solutions for you. And actually, many of the solutions are discussed in my upcoming book, At Home with Madame Chic. You've got to get organized with your meal planning. And meal planning is such an important thing, especially if you have a family. If you're working and you have kids and you're responsible for preparing all the meals in the family, like me, it can be very tricky if you don't plan them ahead of time. And you know what it's like. You get home, there's no food, you have to go to the grocery store, you're not sure what you're going to cook, you're tired, you're stressed. Listen, I completely get that. That has happened to me so many times and it's very frustrating. The important thing is to have a game plan. And I highly suggest that you take 1 day a week at least to figure out what you're going to be eating as a family for the rest of the week. So you can plan your menus, and I will discuss this in greater detail on the blog, especially after the book comes out and you've had a chance to read it. You've got to plan your meals. When you go shopping, you buy all of the food you need for those meals. When you're at the grocery store, try to avoid buying all of the snack foods that you know are your Achilles heel. I'm not saying don't buy snack foods, and I'm not even saying don't snack. I think if you do things in moderation, it's absolutely fine. Plus, some people have medical conditions where they need to eat throughout the day. Or you might have a low blood sugar level and you'll need a snack. So I'm not saying cut out all snacks completely, although that is what Femi Chic did. But you have to adapt it to work for you. If you know you have a snacking problem, if you're constantly having trail mix or potato chips or a steady stream of kettle corn throughout the entire day, that could be a snacking problem. And you're probably dampening your appetite, so you're not actually feeling hungry when you sit down for your meals, which is a problem. Then you end up eating less of the nutritious meal that you prepared and more of the snack. So yes, with snacking, you've got to have self-discipline, and you really do have to test yourself. Let's say your family members enjoy a certain thing, and so there's a big bag of kettle corn. I keep using this because that is my Achilles heel. I love kettle corn. So let's say you have a big bag of kettle corn because your husband likes it. And, you allow yourself 1 bowl a day, which is fine. But you've had 2 or 3 already, and you want the 4th bowl of kettle corn. Okay, I'm getting extreme here, but, we've all been there at one point. So yes, it is that moment where you look into the cupboard and you see it there, and you know you can have it if you want it. But you decide not to. And you employ that self-will, that self-discipline to not go for that 4th bowl, because you know that after you have it, your tummy's going to hurt. You're not going to feel very well, and you're going to be disappointed in yourself. Can you push? Can you feel the burn and not go for it? Can you deprive yourself of that 4th bowl of kettle corn? So yes, it takes self-discipline. It takes a very strong will, but it also takes organization. If you know you're going to be having a nutritious, delicious meal that a lot of effort went into, you had to go to the grocery store, you had to prepare it in your hot kitchen, whatever it is, you're less likely to want to ruin your appetite by eating snack foods that you don't even need. Another thing that I do is I notice when I am stressed out. And let's say I'm stressed. The kids are both, crying or whining about something. I'm behind on work or whatever it is. The dog needs to go out. I might just reach for something and I'll just start eating, right? I know that you have all been there. I'll just start eating. a cookie or crackers or whatever it is. Notice that and notice, yeah, you're going through a hard time right now and you're reaching for food to make yourself feel better. The question is, does it make you feel better? Are you really even tasting, experiencing, enjoying the food? Or is it just a rote routine, something that you do to help fill that void? So the moments when you're feeling really stressed and you reach for those snacks, it's time to pause and say, okay, what's really going on here? Okay, the truth is that I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed in this moment right now. And snacking on a bunch of, candy bars is not going to make me feel better. In fact, it's probably going to make you feel worse later. So the thing that I try to do is I pause. I pause and I really think about what's going on here. Yes, in this moment right now, I am very stressed out. That's okay. It's happening. I kind of walk myself through it. It's happening. I take deep breaths. I pause. I pray. I do whatever it is that I need to do to get through that moment. Now, does that always work? No. Sometimes I reach for another fistful of trail mix. Of course I do. I'm human. But awareness is the first step. So I would love to hear from you. What are your techniques with self-discipline? I know I lightly touched upon the organizational techniques, but I will talk about those much more once we all delve into At Home with Madame Chic, which discusses so much of this in great detail. Press forward. I know you can do it. And remember, self-discipline is worth it. Thanks for joining me on the Daily Connoisseur. I'll see you soon.